All right, what's up, my friends? Welcome. We're doing some tournament analysis. I like to do these after I play in a tournament. Usually I stream my tournaments with no microphone on. I want to focus on the gameplay entirely, which allows me the opportunity to go back and watch them later and go over them. I'm going to be looking at 3 matches today from the qualifier on Arena from yesterday. This is day 2 of the Alchemy qualifier. 7 wins gets me to the set championship. So we're going to see if we get there or not. We're going to watch round 1, round 6, and the final round. All right, so let's jump right into the gameplay. So I'll be watching the game. I'll be pausing as such. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously you can't directly interact with me, but you can talk to me on comments, stuff like that. If you're watching on Twitch, you can just ask questions or whatever. I'll try and answer them, all right? So playing the Rakdos mid-range deck. My article on CoolStuffInc.com today goes over the entire deck list and all about the deck, so I'm not going to explain it too much. Go to Cool Stuff, check that out. It's basically it's a mid-range deck, and I think it's very, very good. Best deck in the format by like a lot. So opening hand here, and we are on the... Is this on the draw or on the play? I actually missed it. I'm sorry. We're on the draw. So on the draw, no black source, but 3 red lands, a Rebuke, an Adversary, a Town Raiser, and a Den of the Bugbear. Good enough, right? So opponent plays Eye-Twitch. They're playing probably a black mid-range deck. The black, Meat-Up Massacre, Lolith decks are a big part of the format. A little hard this deck, but still fine. I decided to play the Shadow Skull tapped on turn 1, wanting 4th land for Town Raiser. They play Crossroads, which is good for us. They have their turn 2 play. And our hand's okay. Our hand's okay. Not great, but they get in for 1. We draw Electrostatic Blast. It's pretty sweet, actually. Gives them card advantage. And choice here is to decide if I want to play the Adversary or not. So Adversary is a card that's much better kicked in this deck than played on turn 2. But with nothing else going on and Town Raiser in hand, I want to get the pressure on the board, get the Adversary going, get in for 2. We have Town Raiser on 4. We have a kill spell or 2 if we have Connoisseur, if we draw some black. They play another tap land and do nothing else. So saying maybe Vanishing Verse possibility. We draw Black Source, which is great. First things first is just to attack here. Thinking about what I want to do on otherwise. So they're going to block probably, which they do. And they're going to Deadly Dispute. So a pretty ideal draw for them. They get to Eye-Twitch, draw cards, make treasure, etc., etc. They get Sciences, they draw cards, and they have a bunch of cards in hand. Flip it black and just say go. We have Blast up, we have Connoisseur or Town Raiser next turn, and we have Rebuke in hand as well. Again, this deck is pretty good against us because they're good at making a lot of shitters, and we're not really necessarily good against small creatures, but they play Connoisseur, very good against us. This is just a 2-for-1, gets our best card. We're playing 4 of his cards, phenomenal. We have to decide if we want to discard the Town Raiser or the Connoisseur. And I actually don't remember what I chose here. So I decided the Town Raiser. They have Lolith and other big Planeswalkers in their deck. I decided it's going to be more of a grindy game than a kind of tempo-y game. If I play the Dragon, they just kill it. It's not a big deal, so whatever. So we draw land. We draw a Flunk, play Connoisseur, try and get their best card. And they discard. I think it's a Lolith they discard, which is very good for us, obviously. Because Lolith is insane against us. That's a Sorin, sure. The Planeswalkers, I don't think, are great in this format. Lolith is very good in this deck. And Sorin is okay against us, but bad against most things, I think. But still great to hit there. So Connoisseur is like a 3/3 Thoughtseize. There's another one which kind of sucks. But now my hand's pretty bad. It doesn't really matter. But just like straight card advantage, lots of 2-for-1s. The whole point of this deck is to have a lot of 2-for-1s. So they have a second Connoisseur in play. This game is not looking so great for us right now. They decide to attack. I had no problem taking this. So this is actually an important little spot. So I had no problem taking this because right now we're behind on resources, right? So our goal is to just kill them. So the axis of the game is always, who's the beatdown, who's the control deck. I think right now we're the beatdown. They have 5 cards in hand. Now we get to untap, kill the Connoisseur, and get in for 5. And then our deck has a lot of burn spells in it as well. So you can chunk the damage in too, which is great. So that's why I decided to take this damage and not block. Even though we're usually the control deck, this is a deck that's going to be changing back and forth between being the control deck and not the control deck. Trespass is a great draw, because now I have a play that goes alongside my Rebuke. So we can kill the Connoisseur, get in for 5, play Trespasser, drain for 1, have another threat in play. If they have Meat-Up Massacre, it sucks, which is why I'm kind of pausing here. So I'm not sure if I want to play into Massacre or not. But if they have it, it's going to suck anyway. They have a creature in play regardless. So we have a creature land as well. Just got to jam here. This puts them down to 12. And they have Sciences and 4 cards. Again, Meat-Up Massacre for 3 here would have been pretty devastating, but we're really not in a spot we can afford to play around it. We also have the Den of the Bugbear too. So they meet hook, we draw land, we can Bugbear, we draw a spell, we're happy also. And yes, this tournament is a qualifier for the Neon Dynasty Set Championship. It's basically just a Pro Tour, just online Pro Tour. It's what's the Pro Tour is right now. So they fire off a right on the Trespasser, have to discard a card, which is awesome for us. So it's 2 for 1. They sacked, what did they sack? Is it? I missed it. But, Girthy Gerbil, thanks for resubbing, appreciate that. So they play Wedding Announcement, and they say, go make a token. So we draw Hazard here. Now, Announcement's very good against us because we're kind of a 1-for-1 removal deck, and they put a lot of crap in play. It's hard for us to kind of get through with our 1-for-1 removal. We draw Hazard here, though. Blast is great, draws cards. So options here, fire up the Blast on the Connoisseur. That's the only good blocker. Now I get the Hazard and then draw off the Blast. We hit land, land, land. So we have a Scry land, which is fine, honestly, with Bugbear in play as well. And now we get to attack again. So same idea as before. We're kind of the beatdown, just get in. And also you want to kill these tokens before the announcement flips makes 2/2s. So play that, get a Scry going. Scry better than Blooding, because we also get a land in play for our Bugbear. Scry will land away, sure. So now we have 2 creatures in play and the Bugbear, and they're at 10s. Even though this game is felt kind of bad, we've kind of turned it on its head a little bit and just we're just going to kill you. All right, let's go. And the cool part about this deck is the ability to do that. It can play long, grindy games, but it can also just, get you. We have burn spells in our deck. We can draw a burn spell or 2. So they flash back right, so I can get blood to kill my 3/3, which is great. They have 2 mana up here and a blood. They play another creature land and say go with 1 card. Now we draw a burn spell. Fire up Den immediately. They have Vanishing Verse, they have it. There's no point in playing around here. We got to kill them, we got to finish them off, and that was a great draw. So fire in the attack. They chump block the Den, take 3 and go to 7. They have a Dispute, which is pretty good for them. So sack the thingy, draw some cards. They go to 7 life. They have 3 cards available and the announcement flipping as well. So still not a great spot, somewhat tenuous. They also have 2 creature lands in play, a blood in play. They have a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of stuff going on. Get to make 2 tokens here. They play a land. So now they have token, and the creature land up to block with as well. So untap. We draw Hive. And now I got to figure out how to close this game out. We have our burn spell, of course. They have 2/2s in play. Our attacks aren't very good. I'm not even sure what I did here. I think I might have just gone face with the inspiration. Go face and set up for the mascot exhibition. So now, unfortunately, our beatdown's been stymied a little bit. We can go into a little more longer game. But the burn spell matters too. So they go to 4 here. And 4 is pretty low. So they do that, play a land. Now I have 7 lands in play and a mascot next turn. Just kind of chill. Mog Monday was before. If you missed it, Mog Monday will be up on YouTube later. Right now we're doing a match review of my Alchemy tournament yesterday, the PTQ Day 2. So they're at 4 life. They have a really good board. They have 2 blood. They have a blood also, which is great. They blood. Discard a land, draw a card. 2 creature lands, 2 tokens in play. The creature lands are also 3/3s. They're getting another token this turn, which is pretty scary. So still a pretty sketchy spot. Also at the point where they have a lot of huge draws. Alaloth is a huge draw. Meetup Massacre is, I guess, not great. It's good. Massacre is good post-exhibition. So they fire up the Hive here. KK resub, thanks so much. Or new sub, what's your name, where you're from. And they fire in for a crazy attack. Just a suicidal attack here. They fire in the Hive and the 2/2. Now, this is weird because they had to exile my inspiration, so I can't flash it back with the adversary. But this makes them draw a card off announcement, not make a blocker, which is insanely good for us. So now they draw, don't make a token. And now they're at 4 with 1 blocker in play. And we just draw a spell. Now this is a tough spot. So they make this pretty suicidal attack. You see I'm in the tank over here. Where am I? I'm in the tank, see? I'm tanking because this is a tough spot. Because they've made this sort of suicidal attack, right? And they are saying, hey, I feel comfortable enough to do this. Meaning they probably have a kill spell in their hand. That's the logical conclusion to make. With the Exhibition in my hand, I could just discard Exhibition to the blood and take 2 shots at drawing a 2-mana removal spell, which I have a ton of. And then I get to fire up the Bugbear, 2-mana removal spell, and swing for lethal. The problem is, if they have a removal spell, we get blown out. We only attack them for 3, they go to 1, and now we're probably going to lose the game. It's a huge tank spot. I tank forever on this one. And I think that because of how they played it, unless they're an absolute master and they're just bluffing Vanishing Verse here, we're just going to untap. Take our mascot, draw a spell, which is good. Once I mascot, as long as I don't have a Meetup Massacre, Then I get to untap, and I drew a kill spell. It's great. So Mascot should probably get the job done. So move to attacks here. I'm happy trading the 2-2 for the 2-2 because the announcer is going to flip next turn and make it a 3-3. So it's a good trade for us. They allow it. And now you play the Mascot. Also important to note that if they have Vanishing Verse, that can't kill any of the Mascot tokens because they're all multicolored. So make our army and say go. If they have Meadow here, we are dead. I guess not like dead because we have the den, but it's pretty bad. They gain some life. It's like really, really bad for us to have Meadow Massacre here. But again, I can't play around it. So they play land. They play a Cursebound Witch. They make a thingy and say go. So now they have a 3-3, a 3-3, a 3-4. And they also can activate their Hive of the Eye Tyrant as a 5-5. So they have a lot of blockers. A lot of blockers here. We have our own Hive and our own Den. We still think they might have Vanishing Verse from last turn. You know, we thought they had it last turn. It hasn't gone anywhere. They haven't cast it yet. And nothing has made me think they don't have it yet. So I think they have Vanishing Verse still. And realistically, not a lot of good avenues through here. Their blockers are very good. We don't want this Witch to die. So we can just send him for 2 in the air. So little England gets in. This puts them dead on board next turn. We just play, we can play the Hive, or we can loot it, and then we loot the Hive here. There's no redundant. A third creature land is kind of redundant. The only consideration is by playing Hive, it allows me to activate a creature land and Soul Shatter. But if I draw a land here, I can do that anyway. If I draw a spell, I'm happy also. So draw another creature land. But now that I've drawn this, I want to play it. Because again, I want to have the ability to activate a creature land and Soul Shatter for next turn. So we say go. They are dead on board. We have his 2-1 flyer ready to go, and they have no way to currently stop it. What's up, Borg? So, they go in the tank. 2 cards in hand. And again, honestly, you know, they're like Lolith, fear removal spells, but realistically, this flyer is kind of, you know, on a sale. So they're going to fire up the Hive of the Eye Tyrant. This is a very desperate play. This says, I'm dead next turn. I'm going to try and kill you, right? So, fire up both Hives as 5/5s. But this plays into our removal spell and our blockers. Even if we, let's see. Even if we, so you're 5, 11. Even if we didn't have his removal spell, we can still fire up our creature land here and just block. But either way, it works fine. So, double block here, make a block. Fire up a Soul Shatter. And now the thing is that one of our creatures will live anyway. I guess if they, like, drafted a Cauldron Familiar here. Not because I have the unblockable land, it doesn't matter. So, my land's killed him regardless. So, very close game. Very, very close game. A little fortunate they didn't find Meadow Massacre, but that was pretty cool. So, sideboarding here is interesting. Soul Shatter is pretty bad against them. They have a lot of tokens and things like that. And we want our own Massacre to mop things up. I think Go Blank's pretty good against them. It's kind of going to be a grindy game. I don't think I want Duress against them. All other cards are creatures, and like, I just don't think you want that many. I can see maybe like 1 or 2. I'm not really thrilled about it. Our spot removal is not great either. So, there's also an option of like bringing in Blood Chief's Thirst to kill their Planeswalkers. I thought that's like horribly inefficient. So I'm not like thrilled about that. So like cards like Rebuke, Abrade, Grasp aren't great. See, I cut the flunks. I could see playing 2 Duress. I don't think I brought them in. I could see bringing in 2 Duress. But they have a good number of creatures also. It's kind of awkward. So game 2, we are on the draw. And our hand is passable. Not great. You can see I'm not very happy. It's behind me. I'm behind me or whatever. But not thrilled about this hand. It's 2-lander. Any land draw turns on Inspiration, which can also go for a Sciences. But I think on the draw this is fine. It's got a removal spell. It's got an Adversary. Cheat to draw 1 land. Town Razor kind of is a little awkward, obviously. But the one real downside of his hand was if we got Duressed. We lost our Smashing, but it's fine. So play that, tapped. We draw a land, which is great. So now we're online. Again, about the deck list, I go over the deck list entirely in my article on Cool Stuff, which is up now. I did an article and a video on it today, so go watch that. So Adversary on 2 once again. Draw another land, so now we're all set for turn 4. They play Announcement, which is not great for us because the card's very, very good against us. And we draw a Spikefield Hazard. So now you have a Braid, Hazard, Town Razor, Connoisseur. So pretty happy to hazard the 1/1 here. attack, and then leave up a braid if they can't play their own connoisseur. We can attack though. I think there's no reason to fire up the hazard. If they want to chump block, it's fine too, I think. So play mountain, and then I decide to hazard main phase here so they can't use Deadly Dispute on it. So just take up. Now if they cast a connoisseur, I can abrade it. Let's see what they do here. I think speed-wise we're good. We're like 1.5 speed. They play a Sorin. I think Sorin's freaking terrible. I think it's okay. It's not that bad in this matchup, like against us in particular. So they play Sorin here, make creature, and we just untap and kill it. You know, they get announcement, which is pretty good. I'm sorry, they don't make creature. They draw a card off it. So it's not like bad here. You know, it's definitely good against us. I think in our deck it's bad. So we have this abrade, and now we could kill Sorin at the cost of our 4-drop. We can abrade the 1/1, and then we can attack Sorin, and then we can inspiration it. Which we get our card back from inspiration. We can't play a 4-drop, but killing Sorin's pretty important. You know, don't want Sorin on the board. Announcement into Sorin is very good because it defends it very well, obviously with blockers. So you got to kill the token here. You got to attack Sorin. Got to kill Sorin. It is what it is. Not great though. Drawing Bugbear is pretty cool. Gives me something to do with my my missed mana here. So just attack, kill Sorin, inspiration. Playing Connoisseur is tempting because I could have a Lawleth in hand or something like that, but it just is what it is. Just is what it is. So attack Sorin, inspiration, and looking at these options, maybe we should get Mascot Exhibition here. The game's gonna go long regardless. It's a card we definitely want. None of the other cards really matter. Shatter doesn't matter. 1 damage doesn't matter. Pest Summoning isn't very good against them because like doesn't line up well against their 1/1s anyway. Pest Summoning is usually good to make chump blockers or to make multiple attackers against a control deck, but neither of those things are true right now. They play another announcement, so they're going crazy with the announcement, which kind of sucks. And they flip it, and they get some 2/2s. So the good news is we got a lot of gas in our hands. All of our cards in hand are also got 2-for-1s, Town Raider, Tyrant Raider, Rock and Roll here. Now they just played their 4th land. This is a big spot for a Lawleth. So you're gonna play Connoisseur here, and we're gonna hold the land in our hand to not get go blanked. Because if they have go blank, we can discard the land. I Town Raider actually. I'm surprised. Past Gym. Better than Future Gym, apparently. So we decided to Town Raider. I guess they're at 13. This makes sense. So with them at 13 life, this makes sense to pressure them. So they lose the land here, or we take some damage. We're not really pressing much other damage, though. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's right here, honestly. In the moment I played Dragon. Seems fine, obviously. The fear is Lawleth this turn. Clearly they don't have it, I don't think. So, or they don't have a 4th land. They might have missed the land drop. I just missed it while I was talking about it. So they play Eye Twitch as they go. Now you get to Connoisseur. And again, they have a lot of blockers in play. So play this. Now I have a Blood. And I want to discard the go blank. I want the land for the Blood, discard Thundering Rebuke. So play the land. Land 5 also turns on both of our creature lands also. So big tank for our opponent. 4 cards in hand. Missed the land drop last turn, so probably 4 spells. They've got the board, sort of. They have good stuff in play. About to have some 3/3s. So, not ideal for us. They're going to verse my Connoisseur, which is not ideal. They're going to bash in for 6. Not ideal. Now, this, however, makes them draw a card and not make a token, which, again, I'm pretty happy with, honestly. I'd rather them have a card in hand than a 3/3. So, we draw Blast. We get to play Connoisseur again. Hit the hand. Discard Lawleth. Cool. We get to say go here. Now our Blast not looking too good because they have always 3/3s in play. And kind of behind in the race now, honestly. Their board's really big. They're stuck on lands a little bit, but it's an iffy spot. They come in. We got to trade here. We can't just take 9 and go to 3 and die to the Eye Twitch next turn, so we do that. We go to 6. They have 6 power in play. Not ideal. Not ideal. They fire off a go blank. So only option here is to keep the Rebuke because we got to kill one of the creatures. So discard those. Draw a Town Raider Tyrant. So good draw. Very, very good draw. Town Raider lines up well against their board. Obviously, it's a 4/4. Pressures their lands because they only have 3 lands in play. And they're at 13. They're not like super high. And now it's just like, can they kill Town Razor, yes or no? They have it, they have it. What are you going to do? This is a spot where we could rebuke the creature. I think it's a playing not to lose line, not a playing to win line. So I like playing Town Razor a lot there. They only have so many spot removal spells, you know? So they attack up both. They sack the Dispute. Now they have Eye Twitch. We have a 4/4 though. And they draw some cards. Play another 3/3, which sucks. And we draw Inspiration though. So big draw for us. Kill spell here is absolutely huge. Now I can kill both Eye Twitches and get it for 4. And now the script is flipped because they have no creatures to play. They have a lot of cards in their hand. They can learn twice. They'll have 7 cards in hand and start the next turn. But they're dying. To Tyrant and to the Sanctum. So gonna kill that. Get in. It's all pretty, you know, pretty reasonable here. Deciding that don't want to know about this thing or whatever. It's fine. So they learn. I believe they rummage here. They discard a Dispute. So they're just desperate for spells. No lesson in their sideboard's going to help them right now. So we're just going to rummage, try and find a land. And we cast Inspiration. And we get ourselves, let's see, they were at 11. Going to 7 on the attack. 5 from Sanctum. So I get these just start from scratch here. So I can deal that 1 point of damage. Because right now we go attack them to 7. Take 2 from land to 5. Attack for 4, and then finish them off with the last point with the 1 damage. And then I can also just loot it with the blood if I have to also. No other card really matters here. So, a little foresight on the extra last point of damage. They rummage away a 4-drop, makes sense. Gotta keep a Sanctum, I think, here, or they just die. So, I'd sack it, though. Might sack it. Scratch you for 1. So take the 2, go to 5, draw for the turn. They have 5 cards in hand. And they are in the tank. In the tank. Definitely a game where things broke our way a little bit for sure. They got stuck on lands a little bit. We definitely drew a good card or 2 for sure. But big tank here, obviously very good for us. It means they're searching for options. And they fire off a Dispute. And that's insane for us, because obviously means they have nothing. So they gotta draw Banishing first or they die. However, we also have the Bugbear going. So they have the Right of Oblivion. We have the Bugbear. And now we have the Sharp and Scratch also for that last point of damage. So fire the Bugbear, put him to 1, play Crossroads, scry, and then say, you better gain life or you're dead next turn. So red, scry, bottom land, fire a Bugbear. Send it in. You're 1. Start from scratch, Foresight. I have so many arms, I'm Goro. Stress game. So, honestly, definitely a match where it's not a great matchup, I don't think. Not super great. It can be tough because they attack at a different angle than this deck wants to deal with. Making a lot of tokens and going wide. This deck used to have Massacres in it, and I cut them because they're just bad against almost every deck in the format. Most decks go tall. Town Razor pressures your lands. We're not playing creatures of our own. I explain it in the article. But, however, Midrange would be very good here because they do go wide. The only deck in the format that actually goes wide, but we can still win. So, that was round number 1 of this event. We're we're look at round number 6 next. All right, so we're firing up for the second match we're going to watch. We're watching 3 matches today. This is round number 6. I'm 5-0 currently. Round number 6. We had a question in chat. When do you know to ask who's the beatdown? So I was saying earlier, it's really important to know your role. Are you the beatdown deck or the control deck? Do you want the game to go longer or do you want the game to end more quickly? And you should be asking yourself that question literally in every game you play. Limited, constructed, legacy, modern, standard, whatever it is. Because figuring that out, go read Mike Flores' article. It's like a piece of, of classic Magic lore or whatever. Who's the beatdown? Type in Mike Flores, who's the beatdown, and Google, read the article. It was written like 20 years ago. Most important Magic theory piece, not close. Because once you understand what your role needs to be, that informs all of your decisions. Do I want to trade? Do I want to not trade? Do I want to race? Do I want to take the game longer? Do I want to block? So it's just, go read it. It's very, very important. Go read it. So we're going to fire up. We're going to fire up in a round number 6 here. So on the play. And our hand is not great, but double creature land, a 2-drop and a 4-drop. We're going to keep this. You have a little faith in your deck sometimes. We have 21 actual lands in our deck. We have 6 spell lands and 5 creature lands. So a lot of value in our lands. So play Adversary on 2, and they're going to Fading Hope it. So sure, that's great. So it looks like it is a deck so far. They play Pathway and Fading Hope, Scry, sure. Then they play an Evolving Wilds, which is weird. And this sort of signifies to me they're playing the mill deck. Because they're playing Crabs on Evolving Wilds. Know that I would play Evolving Wilds here. So, thing to note, make note of it, play our Adversary, and then we're going to play the Bugbear here, just tapped, because no reason to place Hazards of Lands, you have a million lands. So, fire on the Adversary, now they're at 18. And we think they're not a normal Izzet deck. We think they're a mill deck, possibly. So, they play land. We attack for 2. And now we have some choices here. Cards to play around here are Divide by Zero, are Jawari Disruption, both reasonable cards. Also, possibility is Key to the City next turn. So if they didn't play the Evolving Wilds, I might have been inclined to play land here, play Inspiration, Bolt you, and get the Shatter out of the sideboard to preempt their Key to the City or Key to the Archive or whatever. And also plays around Force Spike for the Connoisseur. And if they Divide by Zero it, whatever. You know, the problem is the Evolving Wilds kind of throws a wrench in that plan. So, I don't actually recall what I did here, honestly. So, I guess Connoisseur, sure. So, fire up the Connoisseur. They played Wilds on 2, so they, like, also they didn't only had a 2-lander, they didn't have the disruptions. They just cast Saw It Coming. So, now we're, like, a bit off the radar here. This is clearly not a normal Lear control deck. Just hard cast Saw It Coming. So, kill that. Draw another one. Cool. So, we fire in. Our clock's not great. But in for 2, play land first, play Connoisseur, see what's up. They divide it, sure. So not an ideal start. You know, we're getting some chip shot damage in, but we're not really going super fast. They discard a Demon Bolt, so they're clearly not like a normal deck. You know, you see my face; it's pretty funny. I'm like, and if they are the mill deck, which we're finding around this, they play Iteration, copies the next spell, and they play Laughter. So this copies a Laughter. This is going to mill about 28-ish cards, probably. So they're a combo deck. This is kind of a weird deck. It's a mill combo deck. Plays Hideous Laughter and Iteration. And this mill deck is trying to sort of sidestep the entire format, while the Lear decks and the Meat of Massacre decks and the board control decks are all trying to control the board, removal spells, things like that. This deck's trying to say, you know what? I'm just going to combo kill you. I'm going to ignore your life total. I'm going to ignore the board. I'm just going to deck you and call it a day. So this deck is very, very good against the mid-range decks and the slower decks of the format, but not as good against the aggro decks. And our opponent's name, Anon Ghost 777, Go Anon on Moto was like Shuhei or some Japanese pro back in the day. I don't know if this is them on Arena or not. I don't know if this is them, like, I don't know who this is, but you know, that's just a little behind the scenes or whatever. So they fire off Iteration, they copy the Laughter, they mill like over 40 cards. 28 cards. So I have 28 cards left in my deck. The problem here is that, like, I haven't been able to apply enough pressure this game, unfortunately. And now that they're a combo deck, it's very different than a control deck. Because a control deck, we want to pace ourselves, not play into their threat spells, and try and do things like slowly and pan it out. A combo deck, we gotta just kill them. You know, it's a total race. So now, still playing Connoisseur here. We only have 2 cards left, so we're gonna get one of them for sure. The problem is they can flash back a card with the Iteration, so they just have one more mill spell here. They can do it. Discard a Pyre, sure. We fire with an attack. Play the land untapped. Want to keep the hazard in our hand. It's a burn spell. It's one more point of damage. Soul Shadow, I'm not doing much here, obviously. They cast Iteration. It's a pretty good recovery from the discard spell, obviously. They think about the Iteration for a little bit. They're at 12. You know, with the Bugbear and the burn spell, we're like on a decent clock here. So they put a Crab to exile and cast another Iteration. So cast Iteration again. Big thanks. They have the Crab. We can Soul Shatter it to just turn our Soul Shatter on. If they play Crab. And they get a dual strike, which they cannot cast. So their iterations looked bad. They didn't find a land off either iteration. They play the Crab. We blood the Hazard. Try and find a better spell. And we got Trespasser. So sick draw there. So sick draw. You can see my face. Look at this. I'm happy we drew that. So now the Trespasser can come down and it can exile the iteration, which is huge because now they don't have clone plus mill spell most likely. So huge, huge draw. Huge, huge draw. Now I get to Soul Shatter to kill the crab, Trespasser, eat the thing, attack for 5, and then lethal next turn. So good draw. Good draw. Exile the iteration or whatever. I think a go blank would have been better, but whatever, you know. Attack for a bunch, they're dead on board. They draw for turn, and they just have iteration and mill spell. You can see I'm cursing off a little bit. I'm mad. But so they mill me out. So tough beats, pretty good draws from my opponent. Unfortunately for us, we have 0 cards in our deck, they're dead on board, and we just can't kill them. So tough game 1, good draws. I think I applied as much pressure as possible probably that game. But they got us. So, sideboarding, I think, should be heavily favored for us. I bring in 4 Duress. I bring in the third copy of Go Blank. And then I get to cut all of my bad removal spells. So, cut the, the freaking Flunks and the Abrades and the Soul Shatters, all those garbage removal spells. I bring in the Bloodchief's Thirst because the only creature I want to kill is Crab and nothing else. And it's the cheapest way to do it. I'm sorry. Going on was Oliver Ruel back in the day. Oliver Ruel, Hall of Fame Magic player. But again, I don't know if this is them or someone else or whatever, but someone's saying it in like the chat over here or whatever. So cut a lot of their removal spells. We bring in the Bloodchief's Thirsts, and we keep in the Inspirations, which are also just go face burn, keep all the blasts. Our goal is to be as fast as possible and just kill them. And then disrupt if we can. 4 Duress, 3 Go Blank, and 4 Connoisseurs, a lot of discard. A lot of discard. So keep the burn spells, cut all the clunk, and let it ride. Let it ride. Once again, if you're tuning in, welcome. My name is Jim Davis. First, remember that follow button. Watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm going over my matches from the qualifier yesterday. Day 2 of the qualifier, trying to qualify for the Neon Dynasty Set Championship. This is my Rakdos deck. And we watched round 1. We're watching round 6 currently. We're going to watch one more match, the final match of the day. So, I think I cut a Connoisseur. Oh, yeah. And so this is actually pretty clever here. So, I haven't actually played against this mill deck before. This is some on-the-fly thinking. But Tasha's Hideous Laughter, the big mill spell they play, it mills cards until you've hit a total mana value of 20 mana value. Okay? So I decided I'm going to bring in my Mascot Exhibition and board out the 4th Connoisseur, which is kind of slow anyway. So if Laughter hits Exhibition, that's a lot less cards. And we're never going to learn for it anyway. And if we draw it, whatever, we draw it, you know? So bring in the Mascot, let it ride. On the fly thinking. So, game 2. On the play, a lot of duresses. I'm still feeling pretty good here, honestly. All the duresses. So, look at our hand. Not so good. 6 lands, go blank. Now, it's funny. In the dark, at some point during this tournament, I kept a hand just like this. With not go blank, with some other spell. Because the Scrylands can find spells. But they're playing mill. The anti-scry mechanic. So, if I play a Crossroads to scry and they play a turn 1 crab, I'm never going to actually scry anyway. So, we're going to mulligan his hand, definitely. Mulligan to 2 lands, 2 drop, and then a go blank, which is pretty good, honestly. Pretty good hand. So, keep this. Ship the Connoisseur, I think, just the clunkiest card in the hand. I want the blast to find lands or to just damage them, so keep it. Harvester is quite good in spots like this. It's just like a fine card that beats down. It's just a reasonable card. Good against all facets, you know. So draw Trespasser pretty good. Play Harvester. Make it blood. They're going to bounce it. And that's kind of okay because like we don't have a 3rd land anyway. And then they're just going to play Maddening Mill for a bunch. We draw land, so pretty cool. Play Trespasser. Trespasser's good, obviously. It's hard to bounce. They have discard card, which is great. It's a pretty fast clock. And because they're milling me, I always have a creature to exile, so it always does 4 damage, which is pretty good. Or I can exile their cards too. So fire off the Laughter, and the Laughter hits the Exhibition. Good sideboarding, Jim. Good sideboarding. No way to mill on turn 1. Yeah, but they could mill the second one. So the hand which sucked anyway. So attack, gonna hit my graveyard, exile a creature, deal 4. So it's a 5-turn clock. And then we have Scryland here. Pretty clear we just play the Harvester, I think. I'm sorry, the options here are to go blank also. But at this early in the game, they're going to draw draw a card per turn. They'll have 5 cards in their hand. It's very unlikely they can play 4 of those cards the next turn. So you can wait on go blank, play a threat this turn, which is important, and then we're more likely to get quality spells next turn because it'll be their last 2 cards. So play Harvester, so they go. They play Crab, which is not ideal because it's cheap, obviously. Play land, mill 3, and play Laughter. So we're down to 14 cards in our deck, but we can kill the Crab, and we have go blank also. So this is a tough spot. So of course the Harvester could also just kill the Crab right now by itself. Go blank has to be cast this turn because they have 2 cards in their hand, and like we just have to cast the go blank and they'll have nothing. The question is, do you leave the Crab in play and just attack with both creatures, or do you try and kill the Crab? We only have 13 cards left, so Crab is, a Crab plus a thing or 2 could definitely get us. So I think here I decided to kill the Crab and play it safe. Right now the Trespasser is 4 damage every turn. So, and we also have our Bugbear's 4 damage, as well as the Blast and the Inspiration in our hand also. So I think we had enough damage here where we can put them to literally nothing, and they have to put it together from that. So kill this, get in, deal 4, go blank them, and then you can blast them on the next turn. So blank them, and they got nothing. Discard land. So that's actually bad anyway. So they go. They're at 12, about to be at 10. They say go. Great for us also because this also flip our Trespasser. So pretty easy to go upstairs here. Math works out that they are just short of... They're dead to the Bugbear. So they got a 10. We untap. 4 damage from Trespasser, 2 from the trigger, and 4 from the Bugbear plus token. So they are dead on board, and they have the card they just drew in hand. And if that card's a removal spell, it's not a mill spell. So, all right, Bugbear. They have a Pyre here. It's a pretty good draw. Whatever. The thing is, like, because they drew that, they didn't draw something else. So, could tap for mana here and blood away at Duress. But if I blood, it's 1 less card in my deck also. And we just have lethal next turn anyway. So, Glutton down to 4. So they go. With 1 card, they can't remove Glutton because of the ward ability. So, they mill 8. I go to 4 cards. Untap, attack, and kill them. So, worked out pretty well. Sideboard worked out well. Trespasser's awesome. Mara releases teaser Neon Dynasty. There's going to be a legendary Goblin Samurai. Fancy. Oh, I got 4 arms again. Look at me. I'm Goro. So, sideboarding wise, not much change here. Pretty happy with it, honestly. Being how the draw. Being able to draw is a little worse, obviously. Not ideal, but the one benefit of being able to draw is all of our discard is a little better because they have less cards in their hand. But Captain says in chat, ever consider going over 60 cards in first mill? I think it makes your deck too much worse. They're milling like in huge chunks, and like having 3 or 4 more cards in your deck might make might be, is probably not going to matter, but it makes your deck appreciably worse. So. Mulligan, that terrible opening hand, obviously, to this 6-card hand. This thing kind of sucks. Inspiration is not really great against them. It's just like a card you can play to finish the game off. Trespass is great, but not as the first play. This hand's terrible against Divide by 0. It's terrible against Crab. It's terrible against basically everything. So you mulligan to 5. And our 5-card hand is a lot better, for sure. So we can keep a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and a go blank. As far as 5 cards hand goes, this is pretty good. So 2-drop, 3-drop, and go blank. And just so you know, Igor's fine. That picture's just there to cover up chat. I have the chat under it. I'm just covering up the old chat from the actual event. So, it looks like a memorial picture, so. Am I going to invite everyone that follows me to my wedding with Nicole? No. So, Crossroads here, we scry. Inspiration goes to the bottom. I'm sorry. It's a spell. So we keep the spell. I think it's fine. So now we have Adversary on 2. We have Trespasser on 3. Then we have go blank. So as far as 5-card hands goes, this is pretty good. They play line number 2. Say go. We fire up the Adversary. No disruption. They have Fading Hope. Sure. Bouncing our 2-drop with haste is not the end of the world for us for sure. cutting inspiration for the last Connoisseur. Connoisseur is okay, but it's very clunky. You can't afford to drop. You got to keep the curve low, I think. So, and like the damage matters, you know. This is a race. We need to win the race. So, like Trespasser, get divided by 0. So, kind of sucks, you know. A little bouncy here. Definitely a good defensive hand from our opponent. And they're going to look for something, maybe. Get sciences, sure. Iteration, sure. So their hand's pretty good. Interactive spells on 2 and 3 against our mulligan 5. Sciences, iteration, all pretty good. So they foretell a card. The foretell card they usually play is the twin cast, like the double your spell card. We don't draw land, unfortunately, so we have Town Razor in hand. And the problem here now is that, like, we're just single spelling against their bounce spells, and they're drawing cards. Draw Exhibition, obviously, whatever, you know. And now we're just, like, stuck because we can't do enough things. They have 5 cards in hand, presumably the clone in their foretell zone. Fire up the Adversary. Go Blank's too bad here. Too many cards in their hand. Fire up Adversary. They're at freaking 22 life because they haven't actually attacked them yet. And it's a tough spot. Very, very tough spot. What's up, Goblins? You missed Mod Monday. It was a little while ago. It'd been on YouTube. They have another Trespasser. And they can afford to discard a card because they're so up on cards. So, balance Trespasser. Discard a land. Get Teachings. Because we're so mana screwed, their Teachings are going to draw some cards, which sucks. Play land number 6. So they currently have 6 lands and I have 3. They Laughter, mill some cards. We have 36 left. They Teachings and draw 3 because we're mana screwed so much. Draw another non-land. Just a pretty shitty game, honestly. Mulligan to 5, we couldn't draw any lands. The problem is that because they're bouncing stuff, we couldn't double spell to catch back up. We didn't have any lands. So, like, if I could have played, you know, Tyrant this turn, and then Trespasser and Go Blank next turn, and whatever, you know. But, stuck on 3 lands. They're at 18 life. Just tough. Tough game for sure. So. Oh, got one. Sweet. That's awesome. Teach spell to, like, the thing is, if we cast the inspiration and we loot for a land, we're basically taking that turn off anyway. You know, because we start not playing a threat, so it's the same problem. So we attack, don't draw land again. Now our hand's Tyrant. It's like 10 cards in our deck. We can go blank here, but they have 4 cards in hand. They just keep the best 2. Just tough game, honestly. Yeah, I had a no-show in round 2. Lucky me, I know, right? I'm not going to be reviewing that game. No. Not going to be reviewing that game. Very lucky. I know, very lucky. Very, very lucky, Jim. Better lucky than good. So, yeah, I mean, they have Fading Hope. They're still at freaking 12. They got like 8 lands in play. I got 3 lands in play. And again, the thing is that bouncing the Bloodthirsty Adversary would normally not be bad for us because it costs 2. It has haste. Just recast it. But because we only have 3 lands in play, it might as well be Terminate. So they got us. So we lost to the mill deck. Not super ideal games, but definitely some interesting gameplay. Mill deck. My opponent has 8 lands in play, and I have 3. Shut up. The mill deck is super interesting because of how, like, where it sits in the format. It does like a very, very unique thing. But yeah, so that was round number 6. This put us to 5-1. The structure of this tournament is you need to get. You can see here. You need to get 7 wins before 3 losses. So 7 wins before 3 losses. We're going to review the final match right now. Yep. All right. So the final match puts us. We are 6-1. We have 1 loss to give at present. Oops, hold on. 1 loss to give at present. So you got to get 7 wins before 3 losses. We're 6-1. So we could. I guess I'm spoiling it by saying it's the final match, but whatever. 1 loss to give still, and we are looking at our hand here. We have Shatter Skull, Hazard, Harvester, Blast, Flung. Pretty good hand, honestly. 2 drop removal. Opponent molds 6. And plays. We drew a Trespasser, which is also awesome. So a great draw. Now you got a curve. And they are playing some dragons. So our hand is pretty good against dragons here. We have Soul Shatter, Flunk. We have a 2-drop. Pretty good against dragons. They play a land and they play a Moonveil region. Sure. So coming to the turn, we draw Flunk, another good kill spell. On the draw, on the mulligan, Flunk kills a lot of stuff too. So now we have choices to make here. We're just gonna kill the Moonveil. So we could have played a creature of his turn and just like bought some time, but I think at this point we're definitely the control deck and they're the beatdown deck. So we don't want to take it. We don't take damage to get cheesed out. We have more resources than they do. Just stay alive. So kill the creature. They play a haste dragon. We draw an adversary, and it's fire and attack here. And we're just gonna kill this dragon also. And this is a spot we want to use the Soul Shatter and play a tap land, so you can possibly double spell next turn. If you draw a land, we can go Flunk plus Trespasser. That's pretty sweet. You also play the adversary to flash back. So play with tapped. Just say go. Happy to Soul Shatter on their turn. 15 to 14, 2 cards in hand. Not too bad for us. Not too bad for us. Deciding if I wanted to cast Soul Shatter on my turn to their turn because they are playing the blue pathway, the blue-red pathway. They could have a negate in their deck in theory, but they had the treasure up from Goldspan anyway. So fire an adult Gold Dragon. So a lot of damage here. And I decided to Soul Shatter the Goldspan Dragon in response to not give him a choice. More of our cards kill adult Gold Dragon than Goldspan Dragon, and the treasure can also help them activate their orb, fire up the cave of the Frost Dragon. I don't care about them gaining life because once again I'm the beatdown here. I'm sorry, so they're the beatdown. I'm the control deck. So they gain life. I don't care. I'm gonna win this game on resources, not on time. So they can gain some life if it means they have a worse creature in play. It's easier for me to kill. So we draw Harvester here. And now we have black, red, red, red. Pretty awkward. We can't play Harvester and Flunk. So this is a spot where I make a little bit of a mistake here. So also, to be fair, very good play from my opponent. I decided to cast Blood Tithe Harvester. This will give me the second blood necessary to sacrifice Harvester and give the adult Gold Dragon -4/-4. However, it's a sorcery speed ability. So my opponent Dragon fires the Harvester response, and now I can't activate it. And now they have adult Gold Dragon in play, and I can't kill it. And I have a Flunk in my hand, and they have a Cave of the Frost Dragon available also. And you can see I'm not super thrilled about this. Because now, as I was saying, I have all the resources, but I could get cheesed out here. They have a Haste Dragon or a land for the Cave of the Frost Dragon. They get to fire in here and deal a bunch of damage to me and could just get me before I can cast all my spells in my hand. So not thrilled about this. I'm not sure what the right play here was. I think that probably just taking the guaranteed kill spell of Flunk is probably correct. Because I have any land is adversary for Soul Shatter. Harvester can kill the next one. There a little bit was to try and keep the Flunk for the Cave of the Frost Dragon, but I have a bunch of kill spells in my deck, and I have four of my own dragons also. So not thrilled about this. We just say go here because it's just not ideal. I could have also sacked Harvester for -2/-2, and then Electrostatic blasted the Gold Dragon and said go. The problem is that I would have wasted my trigger if I flunked the Cave on their turn. So, I mean, I didn't play around Dragonfire. It was a super heads-up play by them to hold it for that point. That was very, very good. So they draw land, pop the orb, and another adult Gold Dragon, and now I'm freaking now I'm up Shit's Creek. They attack for 8. I'm at 3, and they have 2 adult Gold Dragons in play and a cave they could activate. This is not good. So I fire up the blast because we can draw some spells here, or draw some cards. Now I gotta find a way to not die here. So Harvester can kill one of the dragons. Flunk can kill one of the dragons. And the line here is that I'm at 3. If I can cast Trespasser and gain a life, I can stay ahead of their Curse of the Frost Dragon. And if they fire up the Cave of the Frost Dragon, it'll go to Night. Trespasser will gain 2 more life for next turn. So we flunk, looking for a black source, we find it, which is great. We find our Haunted Ridge, play the Ridge, sack this, kill that, play Trespasser, gain 1 life. Now we're at 4. So they draw a card for turn. It's a blank, and they fire in the cave. Go back to 1. 23 to 1 is a land. Untap, and we draw Inspiration. So now we got to figure out I'm going to keep staying alive. So we had outs here. We drew Inspiration, which is the out we needed. But we also had multiple Bloods. Any Tyrant turns off Cave M is a huge flying blocker, which was like the best possible draw. We have multiple looks for it here, but didn't actually need it. So draw Inspiration. Now we get Inspiration. Attack with our Wolf. Gain 2 life, deal 2 damage. Inspiration for Sciences. Cast Sciences, go to 5. And now we're at 5 against the Cave of the Frost Dragon. Then once again, if all they're going to do this turn is fire up the Cave and attack for 3, goes back to Night, and they didn't do anything else. So this is a Pro Tour qualifier. Yes, this is a qualifier for the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Set Championship, which is basically what the Pro Tour is right now. It's the online Pro Tour. So Science is up to 5. Play a land, so I have access to my my Bloodthirsty Adversary or Blood if necessary. They draw for turn. Fire up the Cave. Attack it again. Put us down to 2. And say go. We Blood. And now they're at 14. And we are... so pretty close. So now back to Night. Now I could fire up the Adversary here. And I could have kicked it and flashed back the Sciences. Played a land. Had Grasp up. But the play I make is also fine. I just play both Adversaries as 2/2s. Get in for 10 damage, and I have Grasp up. And at 4 life, Grasp can deal with either a haste creature or the Cave of the Frost Dragon. There's no one card they can play that gets me here, and this covers it, and then I have to win next turn. So a little bit of an oopsie, but found the way out. They play Fearsome Whelp, and they concede. So pretty, you can't see my face right now, but I'm pretty relieved here. Because I almost threw that one away. And luckily, and that's a big thing, you know, a big thing about Magic, you know, is I think that people kind of assume that pro Magic players are like infallible. That like John Finkel or LSV like never makes a mistake. They're just so good. And the reality is that they make mistakes, but when they do, they never let it torpedo them. And they have the wherewithal to kind of stick in the game and find a way out of it, right? So we made a mistake that game. We found the lines at 1 life, multiple turns, and kind of like grounded out and found a way back into the game. So, not happy that you made the mistake there, but well played from that point, and obviously fortunate my opponent didn't draw out of it super well. So, yeah, Finkel attacked into a first striker once at a Pro Tour Finals. It's pretty sick. So it was a mistake because I didn't consider the fact that they could kill my creature there, and it was a super heads-up play for my opponent to hold that Dragon's Fire forever and, like, wait for that moment to kind of get me. But I can still play around that. I can just not do it. I can just flunk, kill the thing, say go, and, like, just play. I could play a slower game or whatever. Or I could have used the electrostatic blast trigger as well. And I could have just, like, -2'd it, blasted it, and then flunk the other dragon or whatever. And, like, there were ways where I could mitigate it and, like, still have a totally, like, I'm still in great shape. The cost wasn't too high to play around that. And the problem is if they have it, it's absolutely devastating. So I think it is a mistake. So go to sideboarding here. Sideboarding is pretty simple. Inspiration is very bad against them. Doesn't actually kill anything. I bring my Smoldering Eggs. I bring in my, what else I bring in here? I like Go Blank against them because they're light on. They need to play lands and dragons. Not much to bring in here, honestly. I mean, I think I leave 2 Inspirations in. Because Inspiration can kill a Gold Dragon at least and can go face also. And, like, I just didn't want anything else. The 3rd Go Blank is too much. I think I want to cast 1 Go Blank if possible. Very easy way to just, like, nab. Like, they have, like, 2 cards in hand. They're both dragons. You just nab them both. Don't want Duress. Don't want... Thirst too expensive. Thirst can kill a dragon. So, like, Thirst can kill Goldspan Dragon, and Inspiration cannot. But I have enough ways to kill Goldspan Dragon. And, like, Thirst for 4 mana is really, really bad at sorcery speed. So, game 2. On the draw, we have a Scryland, a Tappy Land early, but multiple kill spells here. And I got to keep this one. Flunk and Grasp is great. So, got our Scryland. Interesting choice here. We are on the draw, so Crossroads will come in untapped if I wanted to, but I want to scry here. I could go Ridge tapped on 1, and then Crossroads untapped on 2 to play Flunk or Grasp. But realistically, like, what am I trying to kill on turn 2? You know, like, I'm not going to kill the Whelp, it's already did its job, so go for the scry, get paid off. We hit the land, which is great. They keep a terrible hand. This is like a real gift, honestly. Like, here, Jim, have fun, go to the Pro Tour. Like, I can't believe they kept the hand with no 2 or 3 drop. I think it was probably a very removal heavy hand, which I think is how the game plays out. But that's a pretty big misassignment of role, I think. Like we were discussing earlier about who's the beatdown. They're the beatdown for sure. They want to kill me. If they're sitting back and killing my creatures, I'm going to win that game. Because I have more card advantage and more removal and stuff like that. So they play Dragon. I decided this is fine to go for Connoisseur here. This does a few things, right? Connoisseur nabs their next biggest dragon. It puts a threat in play. And it also lowers their hand size for flunk. And then next turn, if they play a dragon here and attack for a bunch, I can just go flunk grasp and kill 2 things. And then I have adversary flashback for a flunk again. I trespasser to gain some life, so they get it for 4, which is fine. And it goes to knight, which is awesome. So now my trespasser will come in bigger. Didn't draw a land, which is not awesome. So fire on the Connoisseur. And now I think we just say go here. It's hard to really play any forward motion card. Because like we don't have anything else to do. We're happy playing Soul Shatter here. Soul Shatter is less mana efficient than Grasp and Flunk here. It's might be a little more efficient. I also read them at this point for a Valorous stance. They kept a hand with 4 lands, a removal spell, and a Moon Veil, and they obviously have spells in their hand. What could it possibly be, right? So I think that Valorous stance is very, very likely here. So by playing the Soul Shatter, we get around stance. Flunk can also get around it, but not right now because they have too many cards in their hand. They do nothing again, which is insane. Connoisseur, perfect card to cast them for doing nothing. Get it for 3. Play Connoisseur. Get the next dragon, which is awesome. And they have a 6-drop dragon here. Yep. So they had 5 and 6 mana dragons in their hand, which is great. And Step Fire, awesome. Again, these exchanges are great for us. We're a 2-for-1 deck. So find the land. There's Goldspan Dragon, but now they only have 1 card left, so they're almost out of stuff to do. Hazard is a bad land, but it's a good enough for whatever. We get to play Connoisseur here. Play this tapped. Option here of killing the Goldspan Dragon or playing a Trespasser as a 4/4. This is a spot where they're playing it safe and just killing the dragon is much better. Sure, they double haster. Now we have double kill, and we just killed them. So kill that. Kill this. Now we're at 10. They're at 11. They have 1 card in hand, and we have. And they also didn't have. So I made a face there because I expected them to have Valor Stance there, and they didn't have it. But they couldn't, I guess, since we killed Goldspan first. So, draw Adversary, and now we're just, like, flush with resources. We play our Glutton, we gain some life, we attack. Now we're out of burn range, we're out of dragon range, they're at 6 dead on board. And life is
Let's go.
Good.
All right. Yes. We are the champions. No time for losers. Because you're 5 minutes in the past. You don't know what's happening. I go watch myself win. That's awesome. That's fucking awesome.
1.5x Jim is very, very excited. Very, very excited. And John and Nicole come in and stuff. They all said hi, and the car comes in and everyone. So, such a gracious winner. I'm streaming. I'm supposed to put on a show. My literal job. So, cue for the Pro Tour. Go me, I guess. I'm a very gracious winner, obviously. Dab on the haters. And, yeah, that was the, oops. Yeah, that's it. So, there's Nicole, there's Karn, all, whatever, put them back to 1 speed. So, that was tournament. Again, if you want to see more about the deck, please go to coolstuffinc.com. My article on Cool Stuff goes over the deck list, all my thoughts on it. There's also a video of me playing the deck as well, so it's all on coolstuffinc.com. Check that out. And we're playing some more Magic on stream, but yeah, that's the match review. So hopefully you enjoy the match review. Yeah, it's great. I don't know, thanks for watching. YouTube folks, love you, like, comment, subscribe. I'll play one more Magic on stream, but YouTube folks, that's it for today. So YouTube folks, love you, like, comment, subscribe, you're all great.